So hey you guys, what's up? What going on? Welcome back to my channel. For those of you who are new here, you know what you need to do. Hit the subscribe button so you don't miss any of my upcoming videos. Today we are going to be talking about Tulum, Mexico. By now you should definitely be caught up with all of my travel vlogs from my trip that I took to Tulum, Mexico in 2020. And today I'm definitely just going to be giving you guys in one place all the different tips and information about Tulum, Mexico that I either wish I knew or things that I researched prior to going to Tulum that made the trip successful. So let me first start by saying that if you don't want to travel during this time, don't bother coming to this video. If you do want to travel and you want to know things that you need to know before you get to Tulum, Mexico, then this is the right video for you. So let's get right into it. The first things first is if you are trying to visit Tulum, Mexico, you need to know that Tulum does not have its own airport. It is like a developing city in Mexico. So you would have to fly into Cancun and then you would basically have to drive over to Tulum. Okay, so let's get that just right out the way from the beginning. You will not be flying into Tulum. You'll be flying into Cancun if you visit Tulum, Mexico. The drive from Cancun to Tulum can take you from an hour and a half up to about 2 hours. It just depends on traffic and the area that you are going to be in Tulum, Mexico. So speaking about the areas and things like that, let's just get this out of the way. Basically, a lot of things that you probably would be seeing online, social media, is everybody kind of like in this place called the hotel zone, which a lot of people are staying in those areas. If you want to, you can stay in those areas, or you can kind of stay in like central Tulum area, and that is more of like, you know, like the town and not directly into like that hotel zone. So let's just also discuss some things that you need to bring with you to Tulum. Definitely pack some water shoes if you are definitely going to be doing any type of water activities like visiting cenotes. You also need to make sure that you pack bug spray. Listen, I Caribbean, so I know about mosquitoes. You don't want them Mexico mosquitoes to get you. Please pack bug spray. I actually purchased my water shoes on Amazon. I'll definitely try to link that below. And then I also purchased some Ben's DEET spray, and that had me set straight for like those 4 or 5 days in Tulum. So I'll link that below as well. So the next thing is when it comes to transportation. So as I told you guys earlier, you fly into Cancun and then you get to Tulum by being transported, right? So most people try to opt to drive if they know they want to, if they're comfortable with driving in a, you know, foreign country. And then also if they want to have a little bit more flexibility, some people hire, you know, like a taxi service or like a private driver. Some people even opt to take the bus. There's a bus called, I think is Ado or Ado. I'm not quite sure, but people do take the bus and that is basically the cheapest option. But for our trip, we basically decided to do a rental car. So I'll just touch base on that option because that is what we did personally for our trip. So the total price for the rental car was about $200 and we made the reservation prior to arriving in Cancun. There was a shuttle that basically took us to the rental car location because it's not like at the airport, but the shuttle was included and it wasn't far away from the airport. Very organized. And so the cost was $200. That did include some extras, so I just wanted to touch on that. That included like of course taxes and fees. That also included an additional $5 per day for an additional driver. So two of us were the drivers for the trip. And then that also included like insurance, which is a daily rate as well. I highly recommend booking your reservation for this rental car. We use Mex Rent a Car, and I highly recommend booking this reservation online on their website prior to arriving, because that gets you locked in, and I definitely think it's a cheaper rate when you book in advance. There was no like deposit or anything like that required at the time of booking, so it was very hassle free. And then when we arrived, they also did a deposit hold on the card, which came up to about $72 US. So it was about 1,500 Mexican pesos, and that was a separate charge from the rental car cost. And that of course came back onto the card once we returned the vehicle. And then we basically put on the GPS and I drove from Cancun to Tulum, and yeah, we kind of got the trip started just like that. Thing I wanted to touch base on in regards to like booking like a shuttle service or like a private driver. I did use one when I was leaving Tulum, because if you guys checked out my last vlog when I went to Chichen Itza, my friends were already gone. They left Tulum that Monday, and I stayed an extra day to kind of do like a solo trip. So I left on Thursday. What am I saying? I left on Tuesday. So I actually basically arranged for my own transportation to get back to Cancun, since I let them go ahead and drive back to Cancun with the rental car. So I paid a total of $42 one way to book with Booking Destination Services, and I booked that online and I communicated with them as well. The day before, they basically had WhatsApp me and they were communicating with me through WhatsApp, which was amazing. The driver was like on time, you know, very professional, and I actually ended up having that shuttle like for myself, but that wasn't the price for a like private shuttle. I was supposed to have other people, but I did not, so I ended up paying like that shared shuttle fee, which was the $42. But your girl got the whole shuttle for herself, so really like that. But I definitely recommend using them if you are interested in booking like a shuttle service. And I took them from Tulum to Cancun. So the next thing is, when it comes to like your phone and your service and things like that, as I mentioned earlier in the video, Tulum is a developing city. So please don't come to Tulum and you expecting like the fastest of speeds for like Wi-Fi, cell phone service, and all of that. It's not gonna happen, guys. Like, just don't bother with it, okay? Even if you purchase like a local SIM card, you could still have like spotty service and things like that. So just be aware of that when you visit. For example, in our hotel where we stayed at Copal, Tulum, we actually didn't even really have good working Wi-Fi. But yeah, we didn't really make a big deal of it. Most of us, we had our phones like roaming and things like that. And yeah, so I'll talk about hotels. Basically, a lot of the hotels in Tulum is like nice, amazing boutique style hotels. So I did 2 room tours for you guys. So make sure you go and watch those videos. The first room tour was Copal Tulum, which was like a 2-bedroom villa type style hotel room. And then I did a stay at Hotel Blanco, which was another hotel that I stayed in by myself. So definitely go and check out those so you can see what I'm talking about with like the style of the hotels. Because those were definitely 2 great options for accommodations. So because Tulum is kind of split in like, you know, like the central area and then like this hotel zone area, just be aware of that when you are booking like Airbnbs, hotels, and things like that. kind of see where you are located based on the attractions and the things that you want to do. You don't want to book like some Airbnb that is like in the middle of the jungle somewhere, some fairway road, and like you have no idea, you know, where you're going, and then it's super hard for you to like get to like the main spots. Especially if you don't have a rental car, I definitely recommend that you just be, you know, you be aware of where you're going to be booking your hotels. If it's going to be in the hotel zone, so that means you can basically, you know, walk to all those popular spots and stuff like that. Or if you do stay outside of that area, which is what we did, so like Copal and Hotel Blanco, they were not like in the hotel zone, but they were not far away either. So they were, you know, good for us because the price points of those hotels were like bomb, and we did have like a rental car to kind of help us get around in Tulum. So another thing about Tulum and the hotels is you definitely need to know that unfortunately the toilets in Tulum are very, very sensitive. Okay, so if you visit in Tulum, don't think you're going to be putting like a bunch of toilet paper and stuff like that in their toilets. That's kind of like a no-no. Like the hotels actually have like, you know, like a little disclaimer there, like, you know, don't be clogging up their pipes and stuff like that. So I also wanted to touch base on some things that you can do in Tulum. First things first, you definitely have to visit a cenote. I visited 5 when I went to Tulum. In the first Tulum vlog, you'll see that we went to Casa Tortuga, which had 4 cenotes. And then when I went to Chichen Itza, the tour that I took, we also visited another cenote. So that was definitely amazing. Cenotes, in a nutshell, are basically like sinkholes, natural sinkholes. So it's like fresh water. It's an amazing experience. Like you cannot go to Mexico and you don't go to a cenote. So that should be high on your list. I definitely recommend checking out Casa Tortuga just because there are like 4 different ones. So you can just pay that one price and you get to experience 4 different cenotes, and you know there's and all of that. So if you want to see more of that experience, definitely check out my previous blog. And definitely do in Tulum is basically visit a beach club. So when we were there, we visited Ziggy's and it was a really good experience. That's basically how we spent the last day. Like in the afternoon, we had lunch there. We, you know, went to the beach. We had drinks. Some of the girls were able to get in like massages next door. And yeah, it was just an amazing experience. One thing to note when you are visiting Tulum, most of these beach clubs have like a minimum spend. So what that means is you would basically have to spend at least a certain amount for you to get access to you know, like the beach club and whatever, like maybe amenities that they have. Everybody have their own prices, so just, you know, keep that in mind. Ziggy's at the time in 2020, the end of 2020, was $50 minimum, but definitely it's super easy to hit because of course the food is a little, you know, on the pricier side. So you could order like a, you know, an entree and probably like 1 or 2 drinks and you would hit that minimum spend in no time. So definitely just keep that in mind. The other thing that I definitely recommend doing when you visit Tulum is visiting the Mayan ruins. This was a really nice experience just to kind of, you know, get more information about the culture and learn, I guess, more historical things. And it was really good because also the price point was amazing. Like for a day you could spend, not a whole day, but you could definitely spend like a few hours there, especially if you're interested in history and things, and it's only $4 USD. You don't have to pay, you know, beforehand. That was something that we just paid once we got there to the entrance, and that was definitely an amazing experience as well. Another thing I wanted to touch base on in regards to the hotels is don't expect like the standard like iron and ironing boards to be in your hotel room. I know, for example, when we were at Copal, Tulum, and we needed some things ironed, we actually got like a steamer, and that's basically what we had to use to iron our clothing. Well, yeah, it was steaming our clothing. So that's basically what we had to use, and yeah. So just keep that in mind as well. So when it comes to the central Tulum area, this is definitely kind of like the main town area that is outside of the hotel zone. But the good thing with central is that, first of all, it is cheaper than the hotel zone. So you can get food, like street food, and even food from different like, you know, bars and lounges for like the low. I know in that area we visited Mistico, which was basically like a hookah type lounge. And there was food, there was drinks, super cheap. Then we also visited another place called Burrito Amor. When I tell y'all the best burritos I ever eat, I would fly back to Tulum just to get one of them burritos. I swear, they were so good. Like, I think we purchased, yeah, like mojitos were like under like $5 like US. The burrito, it was just like super cheap. Like for 4 of us, I think we spent like $60 US, and we got like, you know, burritos, we got multiple drinks and stuff. So definitely worth it to check out the central Tulum area if you kind of want to get out of the, you know, hotel zone, like touristy area. Important thing to know about Tulum is don't come to Tulum and don't have cash with you. So I definitely recommend, if you can exchange your dollars at like a major US bank prior to coming, and then you can also just walk with US cash with you to exchange when you are in Tulum. But I had to take the L and exchange some money at the airport exchange you know, places, which I don't recommend at all. I told you guys that in the vlog. I don't recommend doing that because you definitely lose. But if you don't have any Mexican pesos at all with you, you know, kind of before heading into town, you can just basically go to an ATM. Like, for example, what we did is we went to one of the major supermarkets. I don't know how to pronounce it, but it was like Shedra, I think. I don't know if I pronounced that right. Probably I did not. But it was like literally like on that main street in Tulum. And we went there and, you know, took money out of the ATM. So you can definitely wait to do that as well. But make sure you are notifying your bank that you are traveling, so you know you don't get your money stuck when you are abroad. So yeah, a lot of the places definitely just have cash, you know, that's definitely more preferable. And then also just keep in mind of like that exchange rate. Is always better to pay in Mexican pesos versus like dollars. So for example, at the time, basically like $1 equal 20 Mexican pesos. So just, you know, make sure you kind of keep that round calculation like in your head. Obviously, like some places may do like it's 19 or some may do it's 21. It just depends, but it's good to kind of use 20 because that's like a round number, and it's easy for you to go ahead and just calculate, figure out what is in Mexican pesos or US dollars. So when it comes to navigating in Tulum, please make sure you have the offline maps downloaded. We basically used Google Maps and had like the entire Tulum area downloaded to be used offline. As I told you guys, you will lose service, okay? There are some places where service is just zip, especially in the hotel zone area where everybody is at. You will be on that long strip with no service. So if, you know, you kind of get to the end and you just like, I don't know, you know, where you're going and all that stuff, if you're driving, yeah. So I definitely recommend you make sure that you download an offline map. So you can do that with Google Maps and just download like Tulum, Mexico, so that you have access to get back to like your hotel, or just navigating through the streets of Tulum. So some of the popular restaurants are like Back, Taboo, Rosa Negra. You guys will definitely say that we had a grand time at Rosa Negra. I definitely recommend for those type of restaurants. They are pricey, period. Like, I think you should definitely do those like once a night. What am I saying? Once a night? I mean once for one night during your stay. Definitely try one of those, more like, fun up class type of hotels. Hotels. What am I saying? I mean, restaurants. You definitely need to do reservations. I know my friend Bree, which was the birthday girl, she booked our reservations on Open Table for Rosa Negra, and we were all set when we arrived and whatnot. These places are packed. You can't just like walk in and get to sit down for dinner, especially like, yeah, on a popular night. It's not gonna happen. The DJs basically turn up the place like during dinner, but kind of when everybody's kind of wrapping up, it's going to get late. So, just be prepared for some fun. We were dancing. People were buying us shots. Like it was really, really a fun, amazing experience. When it comes to driving in Tulum, let me tell you something. Let me tell you guys something. There are so many potholes in Tulum, so just be on the lookout for those when you are driving. I drove for the majority of the trip, and we rented like a cab because it was 4 of us, but you need like a Wrangler up in there. Like, honestly, like the potholes. Also, when people are walking, especially in like that hotel zone area, there are no like true sidewalks. So yeah, it's like people kind of walking in the street. The traffic in that hotel zone area can be backed up. When I say backed up, I mean backed up. Not only is traffic, bad, as I told you guys, like you don't really have signal. So you just literally on this one-way street. No, I don't want to say it's a one-way street. There, you can drive up and drive down, but it's just it's just one street. There are no other streets for you to turn on and kind of, get out of traffic. It is literally one street in, one street out, the same street. So when you're stuck, you're just stuck. The last thing that I want to touch on is when you are leaving Cancun, because of course, remember, you have to get yourself back from Tulum to Cancun to catch your flight. Definitely keep in mind that at the time when I was traveling, for example, you had to fill out like an exit application pretty much, and that was done at the airport. There were like kiosks and also a lot of QR codes posted around the airport, and you basically had to show that you were completed with that before you got to go through security. So I basically just stood to the side, kind of did mine really quick, and I got to go through security. And then when you are boarding your plane, you should have received, when you got to Mexico, you should have basically received like your, your customs form to fill out. They basically give you like a little portion of it, you get like a pad of it, and you actually need that to board your flight back from Cancun. So just keep that in mind, because if you do lose that and you don't have it with you, I asked the gate agent when we were boarding our flight. I was like, what if you don't have this? He was like, yeah, people have missed their flights because you basically have to pay them again. It's kind of like your ticket out, like, so if you don't have it, they're like, sorry, you have to like literally like go and like get like a replacement one, which you do have to pay for. Just keep in mind that I travel when there were no COVID restrictions. into Mexico or out of Mexico at that time. I know things have definitely changed since then, so always check the CDC website for all requirements that you need when you are traveling, like back to the US or out of certain countries. You know, if you are a US citizen or if you are just a visitor that is going through the US for travel. So that's all I have for you guys about Tulum, Mexico. I definitely hope this video was helpful because there is a lot of, you know, just little things that people need to know before they go to places. And I definitely wanted to provide a video that gave you guys everything in just one video instead of you trying to read like my mini blogs, my multiple mini blogs from Instagram. So now you kind of have a video with, you know, all of the information. Definitely don't forget to subscribe, click like, drop a comment below if this was helpful, and see you guys on the next video. Bye.